I'm Rich, and I'm the owner of the Wall Tent Shop in Idaho. Today I'm going to show you my wilderness stove. I designed this wilderness stove and also the Yukon stove. The wilderness and the Yukon stoves are basically the same, except the Yukon is round and the wilderness is square. The same features are on both, same thickness of metal, every design is the same. Now, on the wilderness stove, I want you to notice that we have an airtight door. What that means is we have a gasket along the door, so when you close it, the only air coming in is through our air intake. You adjust the heat of your stove, how hot it burns, by adjusting the amount of air. It's very important to have a door with a gasket because you get much better burn times and can control your rate of burn much better. Now on the back side of the door, we have a spark diverter, because when you open up your air intake, you want to make sure no sparks can come out of these holes, which they can't now because we've got the diverter right here. And on the door, we've got a special latch design that can be adjusted. You can make your door close tighter or looser by turning this nut here on your latch. So it's a very ingenious design and it works quite well. Now, on inside the stove, we have support bars or reinforcement bars along the bottom of the stove. You can see 3 on the bottom, then you have 3 on each side, both sides. Then again, you have reinforcement bars on the top, which you have 4. When you have so many reinforcement bars, it prevents warping of the stove. You never want to burn your stove red hot, but all stoves do bend a little bit with heat, and our reinforcement bars just reduces the amount of warpage a person can possibly get with a stove if you burn it red hot. You can notice how high this stove is. This stove is approximately 34 inches high. We have 18-inch legs, which is much higher than most stoves have. Most stoves only have 12-inch legs. When you have smaller legs or shorter legs, your stove is much closer to the ground and you've got to bend down to do everything. With a taller stove, you don't have to bend down. You can just put the wood in like that. Now, also on this stove, there's a design on the very top of it where you put your stovepipe in, and you can see that you have these adjustments here that prevent the stovepipe from going too far into the stove. We have 2 different packages that come with our Wilderness and our Yukon stoves. The first one is our standard package, which consists of the 4 pieces of pipe for your nesting pipe. And with that nesting pipe, you also have a damper and also a rain cap and a spark arrestor. Most stoves that you buy do not have a rain cap. All they have is a spark arrestor, which is a wire mesh that doesn't protect your stove and doesn't keep out the rain or the snow. We also have in our standard package a side shelf that attaches to the side, which is 24 inches long. In our deluxe package, we had the same items in the standard package, plus we have a water tank with a spigot and also a grate. If you like warm water for washing dishes or just having it available to wash hands and things of that nature, a lot of people will buy the water tank. And it's made out of stainless steel. To assemble a water tank, all you do is put your washer on the back side, or your nut, I should say, and then you twist it, and then it's on. And on the front side, you'll see I put the gasket, which prevents any water leakage at that time. The grate is also included in the deluxe package. The grate is primarily used for coal burning because you have to have a lot of air when you burn coal. And by putting the grate on the bottom, then your coal sits on top and you have this air pocket underneath. It can also be used for wood, but it's not absolutely required for wood. To install the grate, just open the stove door, and it goes on the bottom of the stove. The water tank will go on either side of the stove. Same with the shelf. If you want the shelf on one side or if you want an extra shelf. And the water tank has a lip on this part of the stainless steel water tank, and you have two flanges on the stove. And all you do is put the water tank, attach it to the stove, and you're ready to go. Now, one thing important about a stove and a water tank is you never let the water go dry in the water tank. Otherwise, you have a lot of heat and it will melt your rubber gasket on your spigot. At nighttime, what I would recommend that you do is just take the water tank off of the stove and put it to the side, and you don't have to worry about it. Now we're going to put our standard package together with the stove. The first thing you do when you assemble your stove is you screw on these legs. These are 18-inch legs, and they screw right into these sockets here at the bottom of the stove. And you can see it's very strong. If I wanted to, I could do a tap dance on this thing. It is extremely strong, and it'll do whatever you required in your tent. Now, on the stove, we have nesting stovepipe. Nesting means it goes inside of one another. So you start off with your smallest piece, and it just keeps going back and forth until you get it totally assembled. And there's 4 pieces, and these 4 pieces are approximately 8 foot in length. Most of your stoves that you buy do not have this length of pipe. What's important about the length of pipe is that you want to go 6 inches above the roof line, because at a minimum of 6 inches, because whichever way the wind blows, you want to have the wind blow that spark away. So I'm just going to show you the height of this thing. And when you have 8 feet plus almost 3 feet, you've got 11 feet of pipe going up, a total length, I should say, of 11 feet. And I'll just assemble this, then I'll take it down for you, just to show you how high it is. I'm 6 feet, and you can see the height of the pipe and the stove. Now, the next thing we do is we put the side shelf. The side shelf has 2 pins, and these 2 pins go right into the side of the stove, and you have a nice platform here. When you're cooking on the stove, you can just move your items that are completed and put these off to the side on a warming tray. It's a very nice functional feature. Now, on your stovepipe again, on your very top piece, we have a spark arrestor and a rain cap. This acts as your spark arrestor, which prevents a lot of the sparks from coming up through the stovepipe and landing on your tent, and that's what this is designed to do. A feature on this stovepipe and this spark arrestor rain cap is that you will see it has an actual rain cap on it that prevents snow and rain from coming into your stovepipe. And you can even adjust it if you wanted to, based upon the direction of the wind. But this is a very important feature on all stoves, and a lot of the competitors just have that wire mesh I talked about earlier, and it's just not a very good system unless you have a rain cap with it. This is our damper, and this is the rod. The rod goes through the first hole in the pipe, which is your smallest nesting pipe. You got a hole on each side. I'm going to show you how this damper works without putting it inside the stovepipe. This way you can see the procedure. You have the rod, you're going to line up with the hole on the nesting pipe. You're going to slide it through to the other side. And then you're going to work this groove here, or this bend, forward until it goes past the first notch. And then you're going to turn it. What that does, it locks in the rod and the stovepipe by the spring pressure here. You can see how this turns. If you don't go past the first notch, then this will rotate and you can't control it. So it's imperative that you go past the first notch and then the springs come into play and you can turn it back and forth. Otherwise, you'll have troubles. And this is how you disassemble it. When you take it out, you just rotate it, that rod with the bend downwards, and then you slide out the rod while you're holding this inside the stovepipe. Now you see that it's installed, and again the spring pressure is what allows you to turn the damper. The damper is fully assembled, and again you control how fast the hot air or gases come out of the stovepipe by turning the damper. If you have it all the way open, then the gases come out quickly. When you close it to the side, then you can see how it restricts the gas. When you get your stove, it'll be freshly painted. There's a system called curing the stove. Curing means that you're going to bake the paint onto your stove. When you do that, you want to have about 1/2 the firebox filled with wood, and then have your air intake open about 1/3. What that does is cause a slow burn, and that slow burn, again, you're baking the paint onto the stove. When that's occurring, you're going to have a noxious smell. And you want to do this outside of the tent so this smell does not permeate the canvas and you have a tent that smells like burnt paint. Again, I designed this stove. This is the Wilderness 5. This is the stove that I use. I like a bigger stove like this because at nighttime I can fill it with wood. I don't have to get up in the middle of the night to put more wood in it. This is the largest stove made for camping.